Welcome to Let's Play Triangle Wizard. Note the gratuitous particle effects over the letter I, and the gratuitous lightning effect over the other letter I. We're just going to head right for the tutorial as the battle goes on in the background between various sorts of ASCII monsters. And here's the game. Little triangle on the staircase is you. The little three-pointed thing is your mouse cursor. Then there's the dungeon walls, and of course a whole bunch of text. Tutorial's fairly text-heavy, and I'm not going to stick around too long at the text dumps, so if you want to read them, get the pause button ready. Now, you can mouse over your character. Let's move up so you can see a little better. We are Michael, level 1 human apprentice, 75 hit points. All our weaknesses and resistances are 0. You can also take a look at that target dummy over there. It's got a variety of weaknesses and resistances that you can check out. Now let's get into spells. Spells are pretty simple to cast. You just click and you take out these target dummies with your basic magic missile. If you hold the mouse button, you'll just cast as fast as you can. Look at the blue bar, it's your cooldown. There's universal cooldown before you can cast spells, as is explained here. We got Magic Missile at level 3, which is basically the power of the spell. And I'm going to talk a little about the interface while we take out this stronger targeting dummy. The blue bar is, as I mentioned, your cooldown. The little white bar over the blue bar is your regeneration. Spells regenerate. Not all of them. Usually your starting spells do, though. So you have 144 magic missile, and every time we cast one, we use one up, but every time that little white bar fills up, the spell regenerates 1 usage. We're going to use some of our other spells, Haste and Summon Swine. Got a little piggy that helps us out, and we temporarily move faster. Okay, the red bar is your health. The yellow bar is your run and jump bar, which you'll see later what that's good for. We're going to face some actual enemies. Well, okay, they're just mobile target dummies. But they still move around. They can still hit you. We're not going to try and melee them because, well, that's stupid. We're just going to use our magic missile and let our little piggy friend take care of them. If you look in the lower left, you'll see the green bar. That's your experience. Next to is your level, which is 1. We have 3 health potions, which I don't need to use any of right now because I'm at full health, but I'll demonstrate them later. Now it's going to tell us about the haste spell, which we already know about. Let's get a haste up myself and my summoned swine. And move on. Got persistency casting. This basically lets you auto cast any of the buffs that you have going on until you run out of castings, basically. And it's nice that it doesn't really use much cooldown, if any. Is demonstrating this extra speed from haste. Giving you some time to read that text if that's what you want to do. The reason the game froze there was I hit F2 on top of my piggy, and that opens up a dialog box, and you can't see dialog boxes in this video because of how Fraps works. Now let's order that pig around. Just showing off the commands you can give. and that's the recall spell. It's one of 2 spells that you always have, no matter what your class. I'll show off the other one a little later. Basically, it brings all your allies to you. I'm just send my swan after the target dummy and just move on. Now we got there. That was the jump. You can see it depletes the yellow bar. Now we picked up a cold breath, where you got to press a button, in this case B, to bring up a spell. Let Control 6 to add it to my quick select. You should see me do shortly. You have the quick select. You can use the numbers or the scroll bar to select those spells. Otherwise, you have to use the letter keys. Here's the spell book you got. It has various columns. It has highlighted what spells you're using. I'll talk more about that in a later video. It's good to add spells to your quick select as you get them, because it's easy to forget what key goes to which spell. So it's nice to just be able to scroll onto them. Here's a trap. I'm just going to run past it. And now environmental hazards. You got water. It's either take a little damage, a little drowning damage. It slows you down. Lava, it sets you on fire. Ice, it doesn't have ice physics. You got poison. And now I'm going to use a health potion because I'm in a bad way from purposely weighing through those environmental hazards. Now we've got money. You don't usually find this much at once. And power-ups with the green numbers on them are things you can buy at shops. Shops show up pretty much randomly. Probably test the backspace, which basically lets you ask for items by name, but it's more expensive than just picking up whatever's on the floor. You got shrines. They have various effects. There's a ton of them, and I'm not going to memorize them. For the sake of keeping things moving along, I'm not going to check a spoiler every time I find one. This one, they're nice enough to tell you what it does. It gave us physical resistance, the most important resistance, and a minus to all the other resistances, which is not actually a bad deal. The mini-map you'll see in another video. This guy doesn't have a whole lot to tell us. He just tells us about missions we can do. He gives us the find the end of the level mission, which isn't really much of a mission because we were going to do that anyway. The writing in this game is really nothing special, so you're not missing out on a ton by not seeing the dialogue boxes. But I'll try and write down the basics of what they say so I can fill them in later. Now, we got the item system. You can carry 1 item per level you have. And we got the Ring of Dubious Might. There's the inventory screen, just gonna equip that. Item identification isn't really a big deal. You just pay a shopkeeper to tell you what the item is. They throw in another trap just to make sure that you're paying attention. They try and jump over a projectile. Most projectiles can be jumped over or flown over. There's the tactics screen, which basically just freezes the game and lets you take stock of what's going on. Anyway, the fact that you can jump and fly over spells, it does a lot to, keep you paying attention. But enemies can do it too, which gets annoying, especially when flying enemies just fly over all your spells. Now, here's talking about talents. Those show up at the end of levels sometimes if you've gained a level. They're trying to get it all on screen. The talents are basically one of the main perks of leveling up, the other one being HP growth. Those show up in dialog boxes you're not going to get to see and are inventoried on this screen. I'll make sure to write down what talents I pick up so that I can explain later some of the stuff that's going on. Sometimes there'll be a new particle effect. Here's the encyclopedia. It has a lot of information. You can press P to enable spoilers, which will stick in even more information. I could be checking this every 10 seconds while I'm playing the game, but I'm not going to, which means that I might make some decisions that I wouldn't if I had looked something up, but I think that it makes for a better experience not to be interrupted by an encyclopedia entry constantly. Now we're going to get to the other spell that everyone has, which is Wizard Flare. Creates those 3 little wisps that light up the darkness. Dark levels are annoying, like in every game. And there we go, fireworks. We got a little maze here. Spoilers, I go the wrong way, but I realize it pretty quickly and head back. Some levels are more annoying than others in trying to find the exit. Luckily, we have haste, so it doesn't take that long. And there's the end of the tutorial. I'm just going to head straight for the stairs. Let you see this the end message. And that's the tutorial. Join me next time when I play an actual game of Triangle Wizard.